Alright, I've had enough of you, buddy. Today, we're taking a look at this one. This is the CollectA 2021 Scenting Neovenator. I think it's Scenting, or Neovenator Scenting Prey. Something like that. So yes, here we are, and I was surprised after first picking up the Megalosaurus in the store the other day. I was expecting this one to be around the same size and pretty much like the same material, but this one is a lot different than the Megalosaurus. It has a solid material all the way through. Let me put that up to the microphone. And it is a good chunk larger than the Megalosaurus, which, let me grab you, buddy, bring you out. There we go. Yep, we're struggling here with stability. CollectA, do you see the problems now? Do you see the problems of removing the bases from these guys? Yep, there we go. Anyway, that's the best we're getting. There's a size comparison for you. Be gone. Stay. All right, and I forgot. There's my notes. All right, my notes for the video. Okay, we've already covered that. Coloration now. The colors are the thing that really stood out to me when I saw this one. I know there were a lot of people who didn't like it. I thought they were quite nice, and I still think they are. Pretty much typical CollectA theropod style with the war paint going on the face and everything. I think the color palette is really nice overall. You have nice green on the body, the bright green stripes, the yellow patterning on the face going, and kind of a pinkish, peachy color for the spines and scutes going down the back and the underside of the throat, which I think is really nice coloration. But it's actually my friend Aiden who brought up to me recently in a call that this one pretty much has the same color palette as their Kamuisaurus that they've released this year as well, which I don't have that one anymore on hand. But pretty much the same colors, just different distribution, which is really interesting. But let's have a quick look at the whole general sculpt of this one. I think the main point of focus I'd like to have here is the head. The head captures the general look of Neovenator's head well, in my opinion. One feature that is exaggerated here are the eyebrow ridges, which I think is totally fine to have a bit of keratinous extension on the eyebrow crests there. And we have some very interesting integument going on here with the spiny scutes going down the underside of the throat and the larger spines going down the back of the neck there into the single row that goes all the way down the tail. And I really like that actually. It's very lizard-like, gives this figure its own unique flair compared to other CollectA theropods. It reminds me of an iguana actually, with the spines on the underside of the throat and the bright green colors going around. I think it's really nice overall. Scalation detail is great. Musculature is really nice in the whole thing, except for the one part. I know we just talked about it in the other video, so you guys know I'm going to talk about it again here. The legs. The legs here are worse than on the Megalosaurus in my opinion. They are so long and lanky and look disproportionate to the rest of the body. And maybe not disproportionate in terms of just general size, but the lack of muscle on the legs here is just very distracting to the eye. There are some toned muscles going on the thigh there, but going down into the lower leg, there's really nothing. They're really skinny and disproportional in terms of actual muscle on there. The feet are massive, and I know the excuse for them is that they were trying to produce this figure without a base because, once again, there is a fairly small group of people in the community that complain about the bases on CollectA's figures when there are plenty of other companies that make baseless figurines. I really like CollectA, as well as a ton of other people in the community, because they had such a unique vibe going on for their theropod standard range, and even the deluxe range with the based figures, I thought were really nice and gave their figures a unique flair. But now their sculpts, like this Neovenator, are suffering because of the lack of bases, not only in disproportional legs and feet, but in poses as well. Once again, I'm going to bring out their Metriacanthosaurus from 2016. And I mean, there is really no comparison. Look at this Metriacanthosaurus, how it just feels alive with that stride and the way the tail is waving off to the side, the head turned, the mouth open and roaring. And then look at this Neovenator that's just kind of standing here, static, basically T-posing, and with the head slightly tilted up, and they're like, oh, it's a scenting Neovenator, it's scenting its prey or whatever. It's fine, that works, but I almost feel like with these new creative names, they're trying to cover for the fact that the poses are getting a lot less inspired and more static, just for the fact that they're trying to remove bases from their theropods. And it's not working. It's really a detriment to their figures, in my opinion. And before we remove this Metriacanthosaurus from the scene. Here's the Megalosaurus just once again, because he's sitting off on the side looking very depressed. And just look at, once again, how lifelike and just alive that little Metriacanthosaurus looks. And then just look at how static and uninspired and kind of boring these two new 2021 figures from CollectA look. Honestly, hope that they hear feedback from some people and at least give us a mix of different figures. They could even re-release these two and just give them a different pose on a base or something. I really wouldn't mind that. Anyway, I have a couple pitches as to how they could have fixed this Neovenator. So let me start by just saying, I generally like what the figure has going on pose-wise. I like the way the head is tilted up and kind of sniffing the air. And I think the reason I'm also salty towards this figure is because I see potential in this one for photography. The way the head is tilted up and sort of sniffing the air, it would have made for some really nice sort of peaceful shots with a large carnivorous theropod. My first pitch here is I think the pose would have looked fine without a base besides the disproportional legs and feet. If they brought the arms in and had them tucked in closer to the chest, it would have looked so much more relaxed with the head just up and sniffing the air than with its arms out and like trying to grab something. Like, I don't know what it's doing with its arms, honestly, right there. My second pitch is to give this one a pose and splay the legs like the Metriacanthosaurus. It would look more in motion. The arms would make more sense looking like they're in motion as well. Just give this thing a nice stride with the legs. I think it would be really nice. Anyway, I'm done ranting on this figure. Let's give this one a quick measure in case you're wondering. This one is about 6.5 inches long, which is right about 17 centimeters. And at the highest point, which is the top of the head, we're looking at about 2.5 inches, which is right about 7 centimeters. But thank you all so much for watching this video, guys. Let me know what you think of this one down below. Keep an eye out on my socials. I am going to be painting this one up to put up for sale on my Etsy shop soon. And I'll catch you all in my next video, so take care, and bye-bye.